Having a child really is like having your heart on the outside of your body. More than anything, you want to protect that child. You wish you could wrap her in a downy quilt. You wish you could encase him in bubble wrap. But you can't. And even if you could, it probably wouldn't be a very good thing. Why? We want our kids to be strong. We want them to be passionate. We want them to be compassionate. We want them to grow. So what is a realistic goal? It's not total protection. It's inner protection. It's building resilience in our children. What is resilience? It's about the ability to bounce back from challenges, and perhaps sometimes even to grow precisely because of those challenges. So often when we talk about resilience, we talk about it only in terms of recovery, only in terms of bouncing back, but I believe it's so much more. Sure, it helps us to deal with challenges, but when we have the inner strength that comes with resilience, it also gives us the ability to flourish in the best of times. Resilience is a mindset. It's about how you think. To understand why, you have to understand that resilience is about dealing with stress in an appropriate, healthy way. To understand stress, you have to understand that we all come from the jungle. 50,000 years ago, that's where we were. Now, when we were in the jungle, what was the most dangerous thing that could happen to us? It was getting eaten by a predator, a tiger attack. And if you aren't sure what I'm meaning yet, think about your body. Think about all the changes that go through your body when you're stressed out. What's the first feeling you have? That tightening in the stomach, those butterflies? That is about the blood leaving your belly to go to your muscles so you can jump and then run and escape the tiger attack. Your heart beats fast. Why? So you can pump that blood. You sweat so you can cool off while you're running. You breathe faster and more deeply to get the oxygen in. Your pupils get big so you can jump over the log even if it's dark out so you won't get eaten by the tiger. And you can't think clearly when you're stressed. Why is that? Because you're not supposed to turn to the tiger and say, really, is there any way you can work this out? We're not supposed to negotiate during times of maximal stress. If you understand this, you understand why resilience is a mindset. Because if you see things as a tiger attack that are not really dangerous, that can't really destroy you, you won't be able to think. So resilience, at its core, is being able to tell the difference between a real tiger versus something that just feels scary. But resilience is about so much more than how you think. It's also about the supports we put into kids' lives and the circumstances that they're going to need to navigate in those lives, and whether those circumstances overwhelm or strengthen them. And believe me when I tell you that whether circumstances will overwhelm or strengthen your child has a lot to do with your support. It's critically important to understand that resilience is something that can be built. While some people definitely have the traits that make them more or less likely to be resilient, like how biologically anxious they are, it's critically important for us to understand that it is about the people surrounding the child that make a difference. It's about us. We know this to be true even in the worst of times, times that I hope your child never comes close to experiencing. But we've studied childhood trauma when really bad things happen to children, and we know that that affects their body, their brain, and their behavior over their lifetime. But we also know that when children have a loving adult who's standing alongside them, they end up looking like almost everybody else. And that is a powerful new piece of knowledge for us to understand. You know, we're talking about resilience, but you mustn't think that resilience means invincibility or invulnerability. That's not our goal. It can't be our goal, not if we want kids who are going to be compassionate and who are going to be passionate. Where do you get that from? It's from life experience, the experience of having something going wrong and needing to reach out, being able to relate to other people. Those challenging times build who we are. It's also not possible. It's not possible to make a person invincible or invulnerable. What is possible is to see emotions as blessings, right? Resilience is about learning to leverage our emotions. We want kids to care, and if you care a lot, sad things might make you sadder. Things that make other people nervous might make you more nervous. But that's what's going to bring out your passion and your compassion. So it's not to stifle or take those emotions away, it's to work with them and teach people how to use them so that they can become their best selves. I want you to know the resilience is uneven. It's not like you are either resilient or not, and it's a label that you wear. It really is about the circumstance you need to endure. And we all have limited energy. And what that means is, say a kid's going through a lot of stress at school, don't be surprised when that kid's going to fall apart at home because they feel so safe they can. On the other hand, if things are really stressful at home, your child might learn that she needs to protect the people at home, and so she's going to become a perfect little girl. Not what I recommend, but it might be what she needs to do. And then her stress is going to come out at school. Resilience can be uneven. What 60 years of research tells us about who ends up being resilient and who doesn't. Young people will be resilient when the important adults in their lives believe in them without condition and hold them to high expectation, meaning being their best selves. Who should that adult be? It should be parents. And when it is, people like me who are supportive of kids are additive. But for some reason, when parents are under too much stress to be that singular adult in a kid's life, then people like me become even more important. But for all kids, the more adults, the more positive, loving connections, the better. And what does it mean to believe in a child without condition? That doesn't mean that you should look at your child and say, it's okay to do drugs, darling. No, it means you're not going anywhere. That your presence is absolutely something that they can rely on. And what does it mean to hold someone to high expectations, to be their best selves? That's not about grades, it's not about trophies, it's not about scores. It's about knowing your child. When kids are seen for who they really are, their essential goodness, and those are the things we can see in kids when they're 2 years old and when they're 3 years old. And when we see that in a child, and we hold them to be their best selves, those kids will end up being resilient. What is love? Love is seeing somebody as they deserve to be seen, as they really are, not based on what they might be producing or a behavior they might be displaying. And when we love kids in that way, what we tell them is that they're worthy of being loved. And that's the root, the essence of security. And that security is what enables a person to bounce during difficult times and to reach out to other human beings, to be able to join with them in an effort to be able to handle those challenging times, but also to flourish during the best of times.